Guys, welcome back to Zakari Hikari. My name is Zach, and here we discuss everything related to manifestation, conscious manifestation, higher consciousness, Neville Goddard, the law of assumption, all that good stuff. Before I start, if you guys are done circling around what it is that you want and you want to actually find the identity, find the root cause, embody it, and work with me, all my information is down below, okay? I just had the most fun recording the thumbnail for this video. I just finished right now, so if it's finally up, it's all edited and everything, but that was probably the most fun I've ever had recording a thumbnail. I didn't even know what to do. That was fun. My cat, Ron Mudd, thinks I'm absolutely nuts. He was like looking at me in the hallway. But listen, guys, okay. I wanted to make this video because I ended up, like I'm sure a lot of you out there who missed the Freaky Friday boom back in 2003, with the new movie coming out, I got curious. Of course, it's like everywhere in the media. So me and my boyfriend popped it in, Disney Plused it. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think Jamie Lee Curtis is a genius. I think Lindsay Lohan, it was just an amazing movie. It's not out here in Japan for the new one yet, but we're going to go see it, I think, like next week or the week after. But I loved it, right? And I got this download, like, oh my God, I got to get on here and make this video because honestly, guys, okay, what if the fastest way to hold your state wasn't to think harder or try harder or sit there and do affirmations all day or whatever the fuck else it is, like sitting there just trying to force yourself into a state, okay? But to pull a Freaky Friday, like to literally switch your identity like they did in the movie with someone else or a different version of you, all right? So hear me out on this, okay? Now, obviously, you guys have seen the movie, right? Where Lindsay Lohan, the character, oh my God, I can't remember their names. Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis, they switch bodies, and they're having all these issues because they're not understanding each other and they're not seeing it from the other person's perspective, right? And it just creates all this drama and comedy and, hopefully when you do whatever it is we're going to talk about today, and again, I'm not preaching a technique, but just a new vantage point or a new perspective in order to look at yourself from. Okay. Now, when you do this, don't go out and, pull a Jamie Lee Curtis if you're, over the age of 18 and, going after a 16-year-old Chad Michael Murray. But that's besides the point again. All right, guys. Okay. So when you shift roles into the new identity, okay, you finally see who it is that you've been being, or we're going to do this two ways. Okay. But when you finally shift into that, you see who you're being. And remember, who you're being is what you're choosing. It's what's creating. It's what's, collapsing the quantum wave. And it's always coming down to who are you being? What is the awareness that you're holding? But if you want to take a macro look at this and really hammer this home, okay, you want to actually look at, okay, so I'm doing affirmations. I'm doing visualizations all day. I'm doing the technique and processes. I feel like if you sound like one of my other clients this morning in the text membership, she said, I feel like it's just nothing. I've done all this. I'm trying everything and nothing seems to be clicking. Then I have another client who's like, oh my God, everything is just walking on air, right? You're doing everything. You're trying to force a state. You're fighting against a current state that you can't do anything with. You can't change it, but you're also not accepting it. It's this nuance of trying to shift or fix rather than just be. All right? And the reflection, it just keeps showing you the same thing. Reality is not changing. And if anything, it's usually just snowballing from one awareness to another awareness that you took on from that awareness. Then something else pops up and you gave that a meaning. Then you snowball to this reality. And it's like you're going through all these realities and you're always shifting, and they all look the same because it has the illusion of the 3D continuity, but it just keeps getting worse to worse from more undesired circumstance to more undesired circumstance based on who you're being and the meaning that you're giving it. Okay? Does that sound familiar? I'm sure it does. I'm sure you've at least been there at some point in your journey. We all have. Okay? And it feels like you're circling the truth. Like you get it. You see certain manifestations pop up. You see shit, you manifested that free cup of coffee, or you put so much, emphasis on manifesting a free cup of coffee like another client of mine that you didn't manifest a free cup of coffee. But you're seeing it. You've seen proof in your life. You can literally trace back to your awareness how this thing happened or why this thing happened or why you're in this certain experience. But then you go off and you try to fix it. Right? You say some affirmations, some of those like whatever ones on one of the sleep tapes or, whatever it is out there. You just keep saying it to yourself. Like, yeah, I say it. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting my reality. Okay. Yeah, I'm there. Okay. Yeah, I'm queen bitch. Yeah, I got it. And then all of a sudden, something happens in 3D with either SP, money, whatever it is, and you're just like, oh my God, what do I do? And then you fall right back into the same awareness because you weren't actually shifting in awareness or accepting the previous awareness. You were just fighting against reality. Okay? Stick with me. You already know everybody is you pushed out, right? You understand that the world is just reflecting back to you, and all these infinite points of consciousness, different versions of people are just reflecting back to you who you are. And it's not just people, it's circumstances, it's money, it's the career, it's freedom, it's whatever it is based on your awareness. But what if you actually just flipped it? Okay? Like, what if you pulled a Freaky Friday and actually, like you miss it because you're doing all this and you're not actually seeing who you're being. You're not actually seeing yourself. You're not seeing your actions in the 3D. You're not actually observing yourself to see who you're really being on a day-to-day basis. Like, truly, all right? So play with some imagery, guys. Like, literally, play with some imagery. So you're in your meditation, and you just imagine stepping into reality's shoes for a second, or the SP's shoes for a second, or your boss's shoes for a second, or whoever the fuck it is. You just imagine stepping into those shoes for a second. Not to give them power, not to say that they have power over you, because it's still a reflection from you. And I want to make that very clear. We're not saying that they have a free will in your specific reality. And everyone has free will, and that's for a whole different video. Okay, so all of you commenters are like, okay, get the fuck out of here. It's not about free will, okay? But what it is about is if you can actually see it, like if you have a fucking crazy person blowing up your phone 24/7 in your reality, what is your awareness going to be on that person? Right? That is who you're being. So you're seeing who you're actually reflecting back to you through the other lens, through another perspective to actually see, oh shit, okay, maybe I shouldn't be acting this way, or maybe I shouldn't be acting crazy, or maybe I shouldn't have been so critical, or maybe I shouldn't have freaked out and gotten so defensive because, some lady came in to order something from the store that I work at with my SP, whatever it might be. Okay? And that's not a very specific thing that just pops into my head. But like, maybe that is what's creating, and based on those actions, I'm actually not in the state of who I'm trying to be. So it's not about the other person, because there is really no other person. It's all your reflection projected out from your state of consciousness. I want to make that 100% clear. But the switch lets you catch the state that you're in. It at least starts with, holy shit, I'm sitting here acting like a victim over here and pretending that everything has been happening to me and everything is, everyone else's fault but my own, not taking any personal responsibility of everything that happened to me and all the drama and trauma and everything I went through and using that as an excuse and flinging it out here. But who am I actually being? And when you actually see that, and this is, honestly, this is just something I came up with that I've done it before a long time ago. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, holy shit, that's who I was. But it's always about the awareness of who you're being, because those actions that you're taking, you're only ever acting or taking any inspired action or inaction based on the state of consciousness you are in. That's why it's called inspired action. It's not coming from your 3D logical mind. It's coming from the actual state of being that you are. And if you can't figure out where that state of being is, or what that state of being is, a general first step is just to literally look at it from the other person's perspective. Take it like, are you actually looking a little crazy? Did you, are you doing, are you trying, are you reaching? Are you actually sitting there and believing that you are that thing? Or are you still trying to do something to get there? Like 99% of fucking coaches teach and throw courses out there and charge money in Facebook groups and all this bullshit. It's not that, it's being. It is identity always. Okay? So if you're in an SP situation, or if you're in a money situation, or a work situation, or whatever situation, look at it from other perspectives to see who you're actually being as a step one, right? Now, when you do this, like, that's when you realize that the mirror is not broken and there's nothing wrong. It's just literally so faithful that it is actually a literal immediate projection of your consciousness. And you're going to be like, holy fuck. I am Jamie Lee Curtis. No, I was kidding. But who you're being, guys, is what's creating. Always. With no exceptions. You can't run from yourself. You can't run from who you're creating or what you're creating based on that identity. You can't hide from yourself. You can move across to the other end of the world and you'll still wake up in the same circumstances. Take it from the kid who came to Japan and went through the same circle and the same shit and the same fucking, cycle of people that he created back in the States. Right? I had a client the other day, you can read in the community tab, and this client was, kept going through and was trying to be the person who was employed, trying to be the one who got that job, trying to be the one who got the money, and then they actually made an identity shift based on the stories and all the awareness they were fucking giving power to and being and everything they were dragging up and keeping in themselves in that one reality. And when they finally let that go, literally a job that they applied to months ago just came right in. Like, I'm telling you, when you actually see who you're being, when you actually take the time to see who you're being, you're probably not going to like it, but it's not about being critical of who you're being. It's about being observant of who you're being. Like, I remember when I first did this, guys, I was horrified with myself. Horrified. This was years ago. And obviously, and I don't want, when you do this and see, okay, well, I did this one thing with the SP, or I maybe might have made this mistake, or whatever it is. It's not about then going into this whole paths of self-blame and blaming yourself for years and years, because I've been there. I did that, thinking that I, was the fucking Antichrist. And I really didn't even do anything, like, it wasn't anything. There was nothing. Literally, there was nothing. But it was within my mind of thinking, oh my God, well, I, was insecure, or I over-texted, or I overgave, or I overdid, whatever. And it's not about that. But when you actually take a critical look at what are you doing, that's coming from a state of awareness. And that state of awareness that you are identified with is what's creating. Are you guys following this? Right? Like, it's not this big thing. But then, it's like, it's not that things collapse because you're trying harder or doing all of the things. It's because you're being different. It is literally an identity shift of awareness, of a state of consciousness. There are infinite states of consciousness. In my Father's house, there are infinite mansions or infinite rooms, whatever this quote is. Right? Like, literally, there are infinite states of consciousness, and each one could look just like the other, but it has, this person has a red shirt in this one, and this one has a pink shirt in this one, for instance. That's just a random example, but there's so many states. And, like, the Freaky Friday switch isn't just about seeing it in someone else's perspective of who you're being. It's also going into that other version of yourself and living from that identity. If I woke up tomorrow, who would I be? Right? Like, what are the thoughts I'd be thinking to myself? How would I actually show up? And if you're having difficulty being that's because you're still stuck in another state of awareness. And that's why when you feel like you're stuck in a state of awareness, if you were anything like me for years and years and years, you will sit there and try to do everything just going up against one identity of yourself, trying to fix it instead of just understanding who it is that you're identified as and then changing to the other state. And I don't want anyone going through what I had to go through to get there. That's why I'm trying to make this like fucking manifestation for dummies, right? Like, I'm trying to make this as simple as possible, but there's only so much I can do without talking to someone one-on-one in awareness, but that's a whole nother story. Okay? So guys, it is never the technique. It's the trick. It's the being. It's always who you're being. Always who you're identified as in awareness. What state of identity are you showing up in your life? That is what it is. Always. Without any excuses. Like, that's just how it is. Always. From moment to moment, day to day, forever. Okay? And when you pull that Freaky Friday switch, right? And do it for fucking fun. But when you pull that switch, right? Like, you stop arguing with the reflection. Like, you're done arguing with that person that you're being, and like, you start becoming the one. And the mirror is not going to have a choice but to reflect back to you who you're being, because it's who you are as reality, the only light of awareness in your entire world reflecting back to you, regardless of who you've identified as. But if you're not aware of what that identity is, that's what's going to keep dragging you back again and again and again and again and again. And you'll sit there and you say, oh, but I affirmed all day, but I did fucking, oh my God, if you saw the scripting notebooks that I had, literally, I bought so many of the scripting notebooks. I was like a scripting fiend. And like, yeah, I knocked some shit out that way, but I didn't change my identity that way. I can tell you that much. But I literally ordered so much of this one specific notebook that now they're sold out in Amazon Japan. And I had to order some from Amazon US, and it's like a smaller size. This was months ago. And I'm like, or actually, it was like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm just going to be done with that. I mean, I'm not saying scripting doesn't, it's, you know, when you're scripting, guys, that's the words that you're declaring. Whatever gets you in the imagination of state, whatever state you're going after, that's fine, okay? But if you're sitting there and you're doing all this effort and you're not actually being or changing, when coaches say manifestation is an effortless process, yeah, in like a sense it is, but you still have to actually be it. And when you're shifting from an old identity to a new identity, it's gonna feel resistant as you go through it. That is literally like collapsing your entire awareness of how life is, okay? So be patient with it, but it doesn't have to be a forever process. I promise you. All right? And when you actually get it, just like Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis, you switch back. That scene where they were giving the speech, or Lindsay was giving the speech at the wedding, I literally had tears. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is a you know, a real Y2K movie. Anyways, okay, so I want you guys to really think about this, okay? For my SP people out there, who are you being when you're waiting for them to choose you? Who are you being when you're waiting for a text message? Like, who are you being when you're you know, demanding that they have to be the one to reach out because you heard from some coach that you don't have to lift a finger? And life can't just flow. It has to like be this one thing that you're going to sit there and affirm all day waiting for something to happen. And then when they show up, you lose them. But who are you being when you're waiting for that to happen, right? You know, who are you being when you're circling the same thought 100th time? Or you're going down these spirals in your mind and you're just dissecting every single thing that he said, she said, what the job said, what you saw on the news, like what your friend said, what you're assuming, what you think happened. Who are you being then? Right? I used to have a friend in high school. This is a complete sidestep, and I'm not going to say her name because she'll know who this is, and she's probably going to, she'll never see this. I know she won't. But, you know, she used to, this was way back in the day, like first year, like 15, 16 years ago, first year of college, last year of high school. But she was obsessed with this dude. And, like, we used to have to, like, she'd take me on rides to, like, go by his house and see who was in the driveway. Like, who are you being? And I know one of you out there has done that, right? So who are you being when you're doing those things? Truly. And who are you being when you decide it's already done? Who's that person being? What identity is that person identifying as? Who is that person showing up as in their life? And what's the identity that keeps dragging you back? It doesn't have to keep dragging you back. You make the choice. All right? So, you know, in Freaky Friday, they switched bodies and suddenly everything looked different. Like everything was just, I mean, literally, she woke up, Jamie Lee Curtis, and she was in Lindsay's body. She's like, what the fuck? And then she like, you know, grabbed her butt and she's like, this isn't mine. And she, you know, she freaked out. And then Lindsay was like, oh my God, you know, I tried to recreate that face in the thumbnail, the I'm the Crypt Keeper one. I don't know how well I did. I didn't look at a reference. I just, you know, just going off. But everything looked different, right? And when you, first of all, switch into the role of the other people within whoever has something to do with the situation, you're seeing it from their perspective, you're going to notice some things and really see more of who you've been being. And then when you switch into the person who's already living that life, you're already in that end. You're already living there, right? Like, everything's going to look different, right? Like, it must. So you need to, like, switching into the role of the person who it already is, right? And guys, like, let's be real, okay? You've been studying this long enough. You've seen tons of successes out there, right? You've seen it. You know the law's real. There's no, if you're here and you're actually watching this and you're not just someone who just like found me randomly or just like, and just like, going off and not ready for this message, we're not talking about those people. The people who actually get this, believe in it, have experienced it, right? Like, let's be real. The reflection doesn't just change because you're hoping or wishing or affirming or techniquing or fucking, high flyers, dance under the moonlight. Like, that's not what's going to make a change in your life. Let's be absolutely real on this. Okay? That's not what's going to change. Positive thinking and all this positive high vibes and all this like, and the people who aren't ready for me using my fingers and being a little bit, sarcastic and funny and just joking around with you guys, but being real, going for the fucking, like, we're real here. That's not what's going to change shit out there. That's not what's going to change the reflection. When you change, it can't help but change. Let me say that again. When you change, the mirror reality that you are cannot help but change because you are reality. All right? Stop chasing the reflection. Stop circling the truth. Stop trying to effort your way there and force your way there, and be. Just be it. And the first question I can already see it right now, how do you just be it? Individual journey for everybody. That's not something like you figure out who you're being. You figure out where your awareness is. You figure it out. Then you shift from there, guys. All right? Like, if you're ready to stop playing with the mirror and you're just like fucking like trying to like polish it or like see a red hat in the mirror when you have on a green hat, and you're done trying to force something to change or get something different, and you're finally ready to live from who you really are and live in that and embody that state and get over this shit of going around in circles, that is the work that I do with my clients. And if you're ready for it and this message is speaking to you, you know who you are, feel free to reach out. But for the rest of you and for everybody, I love you guys. You got this. Have fun with the Freaky Friday. All right, it is Friday. Happy Friday when this is posted. But I love you guys, and I will talk to you guys very soon. All right? All right, bye.